Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of We Should Have Recorded That with Phil and
Adam.
Hello, Adam. How you doing today?
I'm fine.
You're fine.
No, I'm good, Phil. I'm
You're
good.
good.
We're just recording this at a time very near my bedtime. And so if I thankfully, I am certain that I will not conk out because of our exciting guest star this week.
Yes, and I think we'll break protocol, bro. It's late for me too. We'll break protocol and say that we have Azia with us. Azia Wiggins. I'll give a clap up for Azia.
Yes, our very first returning guest star.
Yes.
We had Azia on with us in the fall, and now, back by popular demand, she is here again.
Woo! Yeah. So, Azia, welcome. Glad to have you here. I mean, this is kind of gonna be like, I think, like as I was trying to think about like what we could, what we're gonna do with this episode. I was thinking of it just being a round table, but I think Azia, you're doing so amazing things, some very amazing things right now. Maybe this will be an interview where we hear a lot from you. But before we do that, we want to invite our listeners to be a part of our conversations. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram by our acronym WSRTwPA. You can find us on YouTube. You can go check us out on YouTube, guys. We are on YouTube. You can listen and then when you want to, if there's something you want to see, like how a face Adam makes, or if you want to see how crazy my face looks when I laugh, whatever, you can then watch it.
We did just spend 10 minutes making sure that we were in the right light.
Yes. Yeah, we're about this life here. So please, you can go watch the videos, and please comment. And so on that note, we do have a voice comment today.
This is so exciting. I love it whenever we have a voice comment.
So let's hear our voice comment, and then we'll get some comments. All right, here we go.
Hi guys, it's your #1 fan. I just need to tell you that was an amazing episode with Dr. McGee, and can I please lend my voice to saying bring him back on and continue that discussion, because it was so fascinating and so helpful, and I loved it. Even though I have to come to terms with the fact that the choir I sing in is not as technically proficient as Dr. Potter's other choir. I'll get past it. I'll push through it. We've all got to learn and grow. But I also have a question. I want to know if there is someone I should be listening to, people I should be listening to. I want to hear spirituals and gospel well done. And also, is there anything that I can read to educate myself a little bit more, because I find that this topic is absolutely fascinating in a way that I didn't even know I needed to hear. So thanks very much, and let me know what you think. Bye.
So Adam, would you like to share some suggestions for our #1 fan?
Thank you, Michelle. Yes, thank you, Michelle, our #1 fan, for that great comment, that great feedback. And you know what? Maybe, let's see, what am I going to say? Just because the choir in which you sing was described as less technically proficient does not negate the special place that y'all have in my heart. So, I wanted to just make sure that was clear.
Yes.
But let me also just provide a list of musicians who I think we should all be listening to if you want to understand spirituals better. And I replied to Michelle with this list, and now I'm going to share it with our entire WSRTwPA audience. these are just off the top of my head some artists who I really respect and admire and love, and this is just scratching the surface. But American Spiritual Ensemble, Kathleen Battle, Leontyne Price, William Warfield, Simon Grace Bumbry, Paul Robeson, Shirley Verrett, Jessye Norman, Lawrence Brownlee, Marian Anderson, Denyce Graves, Willard White, Seth McCoy. Here are some amazing classical musicians who are who have sung just incredibly moving spiritual arrangements. And then in terms of reading to better understand the spiritual, I'll recommend as a great starting point anyway, the book written by my teacher, Andre J. Thomas, called Way Over in Beulah Land, Understanding and Performing the Negro Spiritual. It's a great starting point because it is especially about the music of the spiritual. And then in the bibliography, in Dr. Thomas's bibliography, if you're interested in sociological elements or historical elements, you have a place to go for those. So that would be my recommendation for some starting point resources for the spiritual. Now, in terms of gospel music, and I think a lot of people don't understand really the difference between spiritual and gospel music. I'm not nearly well enough acquainted with gospel music to be able to give artists there. But I'll just explain the difference. The spiritual is, if we talk about the African American spiritual, the African American spiritual, one of the qualifiers is that those songs were composed, shall you say, as part of an oral tradition when the African American people were enslaved. And so the spiritual comes from, is the music of the slaves. Using biblical metaphors, using stories from the Bible, but there's always a second meaning to all of the spirituals. The second meaning is yearning for freedom from slavery. Gospel music is derived from the spiritual. But gospel music comes about after slavery ended in the United States, and gospel music, unlike spirituals, often we know who the composer is. It's a specific artist who has written or performed or sung or recorded a piece in a particular style that we recognize as gospel music. Whereas a spiritual, everything is anonymous, everything is traditional, everything was passed down orally and now has made its way into collections. So that would be my brief introduction to the distinctives. Phil, anything you want to add?
Well, I want to ask our guest. So, Asia, I know you grew up just like me in the black church and still are a member of a black church. Like, what could you give us some gospel music that you would maybe suggest?
Mm-hmm. Man, well, first I want to correct you on one thing. Is I was not necessarily brought up like you were brought up, because you were brought up like as a peak, almost like preacher's kid, like in the church, for ministry. And my household wasn't like that. I come from a household where my mom wasn't very spiritual and my dad tried to get us into the church. And then another layer of that is I grew up in the Church of Christ, which we don't have any instrumental music. It's all. Not saying that don't be singing. I'm about to list my gospel artists now. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, just to kind of give give the viewers insight into my perspective on this. But of course, me and Philip got his, because I was super saved in college, so me and Philip became friends in college, and he's a big part of my. Honestly, you are a big part of my spiritual development. Like,
wow.
Because that's really when I really start. I mean, I got saved when I was 12, got baptized, and but really, being on my own and really choosing Christ as an adult, that was college, for me.
Right,
and
okay.
everything we did was spiritual. We was in we had our own gospel groups, and we were so saved and holy. I'm just thinking back, like we were so saved. Like Adam, anyway, we got to come back. Put a pin in that. Let's go back to talk about how saved we were. Like, man, God, we were so good. In college, we were good, man.
Asia, I am sure you have not peaked.
I'm sure.
Look, let me tell you something. You know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean.
Yeah,
we follow you.
Okay.
We follow you.
You know what I'm talking about, like green, baby, just green, super saved, filled with the Holy Ghost, like.
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, but when I think back to like my first time really falling in love with gospel music, oh my gosh, I saw a meme about commission. Let's see. I love Ty Tribbett. I love. Let's see. And you got my dad loved. What's her name? We knew every song. She sang "Shake the Devil Off."
Oh, Dorothy Norwood.
Dorothy Norwood. Ooh, that's old school. Dorothy Norwood.
Shirley Caesar.
All the old school gospel greats.
Yes.
But yeah, I would say those are my. And you put me on. Was it Jason Nielsen? I want to say you put me on. Is his name Jonathan?
I think in the gospel choir they were just coming up when we started. When we were playing and singing in the gospel choir, but Jason and Jonathan Nelson, they're brothers. They do some really good music. I would say some people I grew up listening to was John P. Key, got choirs. John P. Key is a great guy to listen to, and his choirs. Hezekiah Walker, another great guy to listen to, gospel artist to listen to in his choirs. Donald Lawrence, great. Great musicality, and virtuosity in the presentation of the music. So those would be, and then Kim Burrell, vocalist. And there's so much crossover between, if you really listen to Aretha Franklin's catalog, and so many of those early soul singers, like they have gospel catalogs. Al Green, yes. So it's a lot. I think there. I'm gonna name two more really quick. Jasmine Sullivan. She is more of a kind of more of an R&B, but she also touches the gospel world. She was on Sunday's Best, which is something you should. That would be a great primer for you to get into gospel music. Go on YouTube and look up Sunday's Best, and you will get the range. You'll get the range.
And you can't get the Clark sisters. Like
we
got we mess it all the way up.
Yes. So yes, the Clark sisters. Karen Clark. She. I grew up listening to her. And then there's this one more guy I want to mention. P.J. Morton. That last name. His dad and Bishop Paul S. Morton. There's so many people. Thomas Dorsey. There's so many. We should. I don't know. We're gonna. Hopefully we can talk about this more with some of our future guests during this month. So we'll do that. But today, Asia.
What's up?
Tonight, rather, I should say, because it is late. I think though, as we were trying to match our schedules, like giving me more time to kind of look at to say okay, to make sure that I was up on my game. Like Asia, you are busy. You've been busy since the last time we talked. So, what's going on, Asia? Tell us what's going on.
Okay, I mean it's good busy. You know, it's pandemic and whatnot, or as these young people say, on the Panasonic or whatever P word we can substitute there. Look at Adam's so goofy.
Wait, is that a thing? People.
I'm getting you hip to the culture, Adam.
The youth are calling this Panasonic.
It's a joke. Like people just use all the big P words. They just substitute it there.
Oh,
like,
I hate this Panasonic.
It might be.
Okay.
I'm getting like the correct way. But like, they really doing that, and it's a Panasonic going on, or like, you know, say like or whatever P word you want to put there. You know, it gets fun. I mean, it might be a Black Twitter thing. I don't know where it started. It could have started with Black Twitter. I don't know.
I like that. Yeah.
Anyways, stop. This is why we can't never get stuff done. It's already
I'm
late.
sorry.
And we already off topic. You just asked me one question.
Focus.
It's my fault.
All right.
What did you ask me, Philip?
Go ahead.
What I'm doing.
What you doing?
Okay. In the pandemic.
In the Panasonic.
God has been good. It's just been, I think the last time we talked, I mean, I was still in the middle of this journey of, you know, God just really taking control of the trajectory of my life and putting me back to where it all began, right, with words. And so I went from, you know, just within the past 2 years, from 2019, taking my first editorial assistant job at Jackson Free Press to becoming the executive assistant beginning of 2020 of Jackson Free Press, and then getting hired on as a contract worker for our new nonprofit that's women-led. It's a nonprofit women-led organization that is focusing on producing solutions journalism, which is basically giving people the news and not just giving them bad news, but also giving them solutions and sparking awareness so we can create our own solutions in each unique community. And so going from being executive assistant to that to now being promoted to assistant editor. So it's been crazy with me being now assistant editor of Mississippi Free Press, and also still being a contract worker, which means as we continue to get grant money in for certain projects, there's more opportunity for me to coordinate different projects. So I'm also the lead coordinator of this new project that we received a $10,000 grant from Solution Journalism Network to start. That's basically, it's called Equity and Resilience. It's basically focusing on, you know, Black women in Mississippi, the disparities that's been happening and that's been exacerbated by COVID-19. And we just want to tell the truth. We want to get the numbers, get the data, and really figure out what's the root of these disparities in Mississippi, and hopefully not just, you know, embark Mississippi on a journey of progress, but also be a representation for the whole nation, right? Because that's what solution journalism is about. It's about taking things that work in other places that's like yours and encouraging the community, making them aware of that solution and encouraging them that, hey, we can do this too. And if Mississippi can do it, then I feel like anybody can do it. You know, so that the work is important to me. It's been crazy fun, you know, because we don't know anything. It's like a bunch of, you know, eager, hungry amateurs, like all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. We're jumping into this storm. We have no idea how we're going to come out on the other end. But we are ready. Solution Journalism Network has been awesome. They've given us lots of free training, been real hands-on, have awesome resources. I've learned a lot of new skills in a short amount of time. And so it's been cool, it's been fun, but it's getting intense because now it's getting to the point where I'm actually having to manage different teams and, you know, really be a leader and, like, you know, make people think I'm an adult and I know what I'm doing. And it's you know, it's something. It's being a leader is something, but I'm ready. I know that God has prepped me for this moment, and so it's almost crazy how ready. It's almost scary how ready I am. Because I would have never expected this blessing to happen the way it did. And for me to be ready as it's coming at me, that's nothing but God, period.
He has prepared you.
He has prepared me. Yes. And the doors are opening, and I'm just going to walk through as many as he opens, you know, and hopefully I can get to the other side and it be something impactful. Like, you know, I don't want to just make a lot of money don't get me wrong, money is great, okay? Love nice things, okay? I want to have nice things, but I want to do something that, you know, I want to do something that's meaningful, you know, so I want to, you know, money it's not enough, for this life. You know, it's not worth anything and it's not enough. So it's nice to be learning something new, and then also really allowing the gifts that God put in me, you know, to really make room for me, and I can, and this podcast right on time. Like, I'm learning how to be my authentic self. You know, like I'm having to practice that. Like, this is the time. Like, I'm having to all this prepping that God's been doing with me, the trials and tribulations and fighting for my authentic self. Now He's put my authentic self in the forefront to perform. So then here we are.
Yeah, I mean, like, before, like, you're great segue, but before we go into that, like, could we go back to the title, like, of what is it, equity and resilience? Like, and I listened to you all pick that title. So, like, what does that mean? Those two words together, like, what are you trying to get at with using those two words for this project?
Well, and I just want to, you know, do a free plug. I did just write an article called "Sick and Tired: No Time to Rest for the Resilient Black Women in Mississippi." You can check us out on MississippiFreePress.org. Check me out, and it pretty much explains, you know, it's a personal essay. It's opinion only, but it does get into what the project is about and what I know that Black women have earned and deserve. And I just want to go. Let's just do a simple. Let's just see what this is talking about. Because I need people to let's be clear here that these are not my words. Okay. So, equity, the quality of being fair and impartial. So, in my piece, I loudly interject in capital letters with periods in between each word, "Run me my equity." And I speak that for all Black women. That's what we want. We want what's ours. We want the quality. We want to be able to be our authentic selves without being harassed or put down or attacked or oppressed. Equity is a God-given right. You know, remember that. Of course, you know, when you talk about equity as far as property and houses and money as well, reparations, we can get into that as well. But we definitely want the equity of spirit, the equity of my being, the equity of me being able to freely take up space like everybody else, and it not be a problem. You know, I mean, not be oppressed just for being a person, just for being a Black woman. And then resilience is just and I know with the grant for this project, I know they mostly want, you know, the meat of it is getting to the root of the disparities, right? Looking at the statistics, looking at the numbers, you know, going to these counties in Mississippi and really uncovering how we got to these places economically, in healthcare, in mental health care. But we can't, there's no way I feel like I could be a part of a project that's centering Black women without talking about the resilience. And that's just the ability to rise from the ashes, to rise despite of. And so that's, you know, I feel like we can't, I feel like we both want, at this time, what's happening in the pandemic for Black women, I'm seeing so much, there's a lot of suffering going on. But at the same time, I mean, there's so many Black women that are they're doing it, whether it's starting their own businesses, creating art, running for vice president. Okay. Yes. I'm just saying, like, we all up in the Congress, we all up in the, like, we Black women are doing it. It's our time, and we are equipped to lead. Yes. And you know, I want to, you know, part of my passion is to build the awareness of the people to trust Black women, like, to really, you know, I think we've earned our time to shine, and it's not, and our shine is not for us, it's for everyone. You know, we're here for everyone. We're here to do what's in us to do, to be good, to be great, to be nurturers, to be the foundation. So let us shine. Trust us. Follow us. We're intelligent enough. We're equipped enough. We're resilient enough. We earned
Asia,
it.
lead me.
Yes, that's right, Adam. Especially you.
Yes.
And white men, other white men. Okay.
Yes,
Especially.
I agree. I couldn't possibly agree more.
Yes. But not, you know, to greatness, you know, not to, you know, not by control or any of that. It's just about just let us have what we earn. Let us, you know, take up space and do what time and experience has equipped us to do. Just trust us and let us do this. and another part of my piece, you know, is really for that. It was kind of hard to it was hard to write because I feel like I've been so angry these past few years, especially with this living in this Panasonic, like we talked about earlier. It's just been a weird time, and you know, a part of me, I know that we're equipped. I know that it's our time to lead, and it's our time to nurture, and it's our time to pick up the pieces, right? But at the same time, I'm also angry because no one, we're having to repair ourselves as we go along. Like, we're still being stomped on and still being oppressed by, you know, everyone else, and we're needed. You need us, you know. So part of me is a little angry about that, and I kind of, you know, had to find a way to be genuine with that, but not be callous or bitter about it, not let it overturn my piece. So I had to talk about how in my piece that, you know, Black women, it's ingrained in us to just continue to go despite of. It's, you know, ingrained in us to push through, you know, even to the fact that, you know, even science backs it. They thought that scientists believe that we feel pain differently. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a real, and even still today, that's still part of the reason why we don't have equity in healthcare, because they really feel like we can take more pain just because we're Black. You know, so, and there's so many Black women dying from having babies. Like, we're being attacked on so many fronts. And so, you know, it's like my piece is talking about repair us as you follow us. You know, help us so we can be fully present for for the job we have to do. We need help. We need that support. We need that encouragement. We need to get real about Black women and self-care and taking care of our own bodies and uplifting and encouraging one another. We got to get serious about that, because in order for us to really continue this fight and lead and do what we need to do, we have to be prepared as well. We can't just keep, you know, giving water out of these empty, broken vessels constantly and think that it's going to continue to work, because it's not.
Yes.
So I'm done. That's my little, I'm off my soapbox. So it's like a long, cringy, worth limited time to talk.
No.
I'm going to drink now. Drink.
Okay.
Y'all love y'all. Look, it's been a long day, and I really just wanted to unwind with y'all. Like, I know it's late for you, but
that's what we doing.
Thank you so much.
Exactly what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I love you. Okay, to let you know.
I mean, I think I want to say this at this moment. That's why we're recording this at this time, because you are doing what you're doing, right? Because you're doing the work that you're talking about, you know. And the thing is, you still wanted to say, okay, Philip is my friend. I know Adam. I want to have this conversation, and so I appreciate you. I appreciate you for giving us your time. I appreciate you for giving us time.
Asia,
Thank you.
Is there someone who you think models being their authentic self really well?
That I personally know?
No, it doesn't have to be personal. It can be.
I guess I think it would have to be personally, I think.
Okay.
Right? Because who really knows? I don't really know if these people are being their authentic selves or not. So I guess I would have to.
That's true. That's true.
I'm going to go with my first thought. Well, I don't know. My mom and sister are neck and neck, I would say. They are, you know, my sister is probably my bestest friend, and her and my mom have that. I think we kind of all have that. Just, you know, we don't know how to not be ourselves. It's not always good, but I will say, you know, it's refreshing to have a mom that is just she that's intact with herself, even though she's not perfect. It's not about being perfect. Being real and being authentic is not about being perfect, right? It's just about being in tune with who you are and being able to communicate that to others. When you're angry, when you're sad, it's a level of emotional intelligence that comes with being your authentic self. It's a level you have to get to and being comfortable with yourself to be authentic. You know, even if you are a terrible person, you know, I have a great appreciation for people that are genuine. Yeah. It's not so much about them being so good or sticking to a certain moral code, but are you a genuine person? Can you own up to your own stuff? You know, can you communicate what's really how you're feeling and why you're doing certain things? You know.
That's right.
So I would say, my mom and my sister are probably the most authentic people ever. my sister probably more than my mom. So I would say 100% my sister is probably the most authentic person I know, because not only is she authentic, just it's a natural response for her to just be honest about how she's feeling, but seeing her get older and as she's working on herself with, you know, finding her purpose, taking care of her children, going to therapy, she's not only just naturally honest about her feelings, she's taking the next level, the next step of getting to know the roots of those feelings and learning how to communicate that to people that she loves. And I feel like that's authenticity, when you can just be yourself and, you know, also you know, move and not feel like you have to be Kay. You can just be who you are. And if people, you know, hey, I'm this, you know, I'm feeling like this today. I'm not doing that today. Like when you're being authentic to yourself, it's just less stress for you and everybody else. Even if down the road you realize, you know, maybe I wasn't mature enough at that time to, you know, but if you were honest in yourself at that time, it still ends up being okay in the end. Because you can only be as authentic as you know. You can only express as much of yourself as you know, and getting to know ourselves is a lifetime job.
Mm-hmm. Asia, what's the difference between being inauthentic and code switching? Or actually, maybe we should define code switching for our audience and then answer that question.
That is juicy. I like that. I would say, okay, so code switching, right? Mm-hmm. I could just code switch, okay? I'm talking to y'all, like, code switching is just for a black woman or a black person is putting on your email voice, or like putting on your phone voice. You're talking grammatically correctly. You're pronouncing all of your syllables. You may be talking a little lighter. You know, you don't want to arouse anybody by being too loud or speaking too fast, or you know, you want to sound professional and educated. Okay, because that's the culture. You know, that's the culture of professionalism in America and all across the world. Okay, but when I'm with my homies, you know what I'm saying, I can say whatever I want to say. Now, I'm not going to curse over here. I'm not going to use too much slang, but I can, you know, look, my voice is naturally deep, okay? I talk fast, and I'm very assertive. That's, you know, my voice is assertive. Even when I'm being, like, I'm a bold person, so I can't take that. I think it's not necessarily that you're not being authentic, but you have to read the room, right? Like being authentic is all about being sure that you're getting across to everybody, people can understand you, you know. And unfortunately, we live in a racist society. We live in a very ignorant society, and they expect you to sound and talk and listen to certain music and walk a certain way and like certain things just solely based off how you sound on the phone without even seeing you. You're already being judged because black means incorrect. Black means uneducated. Black means that you don't know how to use, you know, proper sentences and sentence structure. You know, black means you talking loud and ghetto and cursing. You know, so you have to learn you have to read the room. When you at home with your friends, you know, and with your family, they grew up with you. It's a lot of words that y'all use that you guys understand. I know for me, for my family, you know, my sister talks fast. My cousins talk fast, and when we're talking to each other, we understand each other, cause we're used to that dynamic, right? But then I start dating some new guy, and I'm getting all excited, and I'm being myself. When he hear a conversation between me and my sister and my cousin, they looking like, what you say? I didn't understand none of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, it's not that I'm not being authentic, cause all these parts of me. You know, I love words. You know, I also love curse words. I can go a whole day without cursing, but sometimes I need that F word. Like when I want to express my feelings, that F word is the only one that's gonna do. Okay? And that's the one I'm gonna use. That doesn't mean that I don't know how to have a conversation without cursing or use the N word or any of that. Doesn't mean that I read less books or that I'm less cultured. It just means that, matter of fact, it's a whole nother type of culture. It should be another skill because it's really another language. If we get into the technical terms of AAVE and you know, regular English, it's a whole nother thing. The fact that I can, you know, switch code switch, as people say. So, but yeah, so I would say, yeah, I just want to sum it up by saying I think that it's not so much that you, I'm gonna scratch that. Getting to know yourself and really trying to be authentic, you have to get comfortable with all sides of yourself. That's and also being authentic does not mean that everybody got to know your business or that they got to know your whole history. That don't mean that doesn't define authenticity. Authenticity just means that my intentions are genuine, that I'm not trying to fool you or persuade you or hoodwink you, that I'm telling you the truth, that I'm being honest, that I have integrity. Like, it's not, about whether or not I tell you my deepest, darkest secrets, or I use my favorite words when I'm at a meeting with professional white people. I can't go in there and just talk any kind of way because I know how they're gonna perceive me. You have to have some common sense. You have to have some accountability and understand that, the rules of the game. And until those rules change, but they are gradually changing when it comes to, what's clean or what's, whether or not you should have tattoos in the workplace or, things that, judging people on appearance to see whether or not they're qualified for a job. Those things are slowly changing. But for the larger part, we have to be honest about the society we live in. And the society we live in is shallow and majority racist and don't see black as anything good from the beginning. So if you're not trying to meet the standards of professionalism that we have in America, then you're gonna be looked at a certain way, and people are gonna, and you have to code switch to keep people comfortable because of the spaces that we're in. Especially a lot of us working in predominantly white spaces. You have to. You can't be yourself. There's no freedom for you to be yourself there. We can barely wear our hair to be the way we want it. And that's something that naturally grows out of my head. So code switching is a method of survival for us. It's a way that we able to assimilate and be accepted and actually be heard.
Adam, let me ask you, do you, and because I know you come from a kind of a rural background, do you think that you have had to kind of code switch in that way as well?
I think I've had to learn a form of code switching when I interface. I've always thought of it as interfacing with various people, whether that be someone from my hometown who's never left my hometown and they've never traveled, they are didn't go to college or university. I just have to interface with that person in a different way than I would interface with, a colleague at the college. I wouldn't call that code switching, though. My impression, non-experientially, but I think commonsensically, is that I simply, the variations in the way I interface with various people is so much less than what I think you two probably have to do.
But you know what? Looking at the definition of code switching, right? It says the practice of alternating between two or more languages or varieties of language in conversation. So I do agree with you that it may, of course you can't identify with us as black, Americans, but that does not mean that you don't have to code switch, because let's keep it real and keep it frank here. The rich elite don't care about poor white people either. Y'all just like us to them when it comes to worth and whether you're intelligent or educated enough.
Yes.
It's the same. It's not the same, but you know what I'm saying. It doesn't invalidate your experience that you do have the code switch because you become educated. And I bet you can't just go back home. There's some people you can't talk to. You talk to them, like how you normally talk at work and with us. They can be like, oh, you think you got a little college degree and you've been living with them, with them. You have to deal with the same thing.
Exactly. That's why I cannot. It's no, I don't talk like this because I'm college educated. This is how I talk.
Right.
I'm sorry. Okay, never mind. I will stop using big words.
you gotta switch up that. You gotta switch it up, like you said. Like that don't mean you're being authentic. I mean,
inauthentic.
Oh my God, inauthentic.
Right, right. And I think I think we've all had to struggle with that, right?
Yes.
Right.
When we interface with different people, and because they are different people, we interface with them differently. Mm-hmm. Does that make us inauthentic? My answer for myself is no. What's your answer for yourself, Asia?
I say no.
Good.
But I mean, but then we have to define. Okay, so what is inauthentic then? Right?
Well, okay. You get told this. Your mom is an amazing example of an authentic person. You probably can't use someone in your own life as an example of an inauthentic person, just in case they happened to listen.
Oh, I don't mind. We're gonna keep it real. Okay?
Well,
being authentic about being tell none. Think
of an inauthentic person or know of. What are the things that make that person inauthentic?
Inauthentic person that I know. I would say, let me see, I'm not going to say any names.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, that's probably the best. Well, no, I had an example. I don't think I want to use that one. And see, my circle's so small because I don't, honestly, inauthentic people don't last long in my life. I'm just going to be honest. Not because they're not, like I said, it's not so much about being perfect, right? It's about being genuine and having and having true intentions. So anybody I feel like that's lying to me, or that is holding parts of the truth, or and then there's people who are. I have a childhood friend that I know them now. Of course they've grown and matured, but one of the reasons why we stopped being friends is because they were a pathological liar, just kind of lying about just crazy stuff, just anything, nothing, no big stuff, just lying about where they had been, or what they wore, or even something a conversation that they had, lying about stuff like that. But then seeing them with other people, like seeing them friends with one group of people, but you are talking about another friend, just being dishonest, being manipulative, being selfish, knowingly, like you're knowingly trying to harm somebody. Like I feel like being inauthentic when you're just not being honest about who you are, being a scammer, being just not being real. Like I mean, just a lot of people might not agree with women that strip, but when you go in a strip club, you expect to find strippers. Like I don't expect to find, what I'm saying, a stockbroker, in a suit on the pole, like. Because why are you here? That doesn't. You're not in your right lane, sir. This is for strippers. That doesn't mean that strippers can't be genuine because it's not morally upright for certain people. It doesn't make them less genuine people because you don't agree with how they live. So I think it's just it's just about trust. It's about trust and being honest. And so people that lie and can't. But then I think, like, where do you put the people that just haven't grown to that level of maturity, right? Because we talk about being authentic, it's levels to it. Like, you really have to get to know yourself. Like, and sometimes, especially as growing up, you may be playing a character for a lot of your life just to appease, just because you love the people in your life and you just want to be liked or be likable. But are you really being authentic? Would you really have those friends that you could just really... do the things you want to do, share, go places you want to go and be honest about that. Are you really happy when you're not being authentic? And authentic does not mean right. It just means, are you losing sleep because you're not able, you feel like you can't breathe? Like, are you able to really, are you able to wake up and, look yourself in the mirror and not be ashamed or not, feel like you don't know who you are? So, I don't know. Did I answer any question?
I think you're hitting on a lot of good things, and I think the article. We're gonna link all of the things that are kind of driving our conversation. one of the things in the article it says about interrogating or talking to the two sides of yourself. And the article, they call it the authentic self and the adapted. I think the adapted self is, I believe, is the term. And where they don't agree. Where the adaptive self has said, okay, this is what I have to do to survive. And the authentic self has said, okay, I can't, I have to, dim my light. And like seeing that in how you were raised, like you just said, your family, the schooling, just the ways that our culture has taught us that's not okay. And I think it is a hard thing. It is a hard thing to like to distinguish between building good values and good character versus just wanting somebody to fit inside a box.
Yes.
What do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? Like, like that. That's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to do, right? Like, helping a student. As Adam and you and I as teachers, like helping students to build good character versus just trying to make them be a certain thing. What do y'all think about that?
I'm gonna Adam go because I talk way too much. It's your turn.
No, Asia, you're a guest. We want to hear what you have to say.
I'm the guest. You do what I say.
Wow. Okay.
Phil, I want to hear what you have to say first.
I agree. That's a good solution, Adam.
There we go.
I like it. Yeah, I like that.
Well, so I think it's definitely something. It's a tricky, I would say maybe a tricky dance, to try to help. And I'm in elementary school right now during pandemic where there's so many things going on with our students. Like, it's really asking them a lot of questions. Like I feel like that's how I'm trying to guide their like journey in character, or even like using words of like we said with equity, fairness, respectful. Like, what does that mean? What did you the way you just spoke to your friend, was that, or your classmate, was that respectful? Was that how do we express our frustrations? When somebody's invading your space, what can you say to them? Or if you think you want to be helpful, how can you help? Do you are you asking to be helpful, or are you just invading someone's space? Because we have different emotions. Some days I don't mind if you just come up and walk up and start helping me pick up my crayons, and the next day I want to pick up my crayons by myself. It's so
Can we stop right there? Because that child lesson, that is a child lesson, but that is a lesson that adults need to learn.
Yeah.
Just because you have good intentions and you want to do what you want to do for somebody else does not mean that that's the right thing to do. Because when you're servicing other people, it's not about what you want. What do they need from you?
Why is that such a difficult concept?
Oh my God, because we are selfish and just in our heads of our own a-holes. Okay, basically.
Yes.
It's all about me. Most of us, that's just the truth. We all do it. But I love that. And to be teaching our children, I'm just so glad that these young children have teachers like you, because those are the skills that they need for life. Like those questions and learning how to express themselves, especially for our black children. Like we didn't have that. We didn't have that. That time and that room to really grow some emotional intelligence. That's not just an adult thing. That's something that we should be cultivating in our children, to give them space to have that time to, okay, how am I feeling? Why am I feeling like this? How are my feelings invading somebody else's space or affecting somebody else? Like, I love that. Like, that just really touched me that you said that those are things you're asking children, because we need to be asking some adults these questions.
Yes.
And we need to be at work asking these questions to these adults and explain, when we, instead of, just writing them up, like, we need to have a real counselor come in and just ask them, I mean, did you do that because, what'd you say, Philip? Did you do that because you wanted to help or because you were invading somebody else's space?
Well, I mean, like, I'm really like thinking about a real life situation, man. I want to protect the innocence. I want to protecting the innocence at my job. But like I think it's a desire to be like the student who's trying to help or the person who's trying to help. It's kind of a desire to be seen, and I'm a guilty of it myself.
Ooh.
It's a desire to be seen.
that was some rebar. Like, wow.
It's a desire to be seen. Like, well, you mean maybe I like this person, So like when I see I gotta get in there, Like I gotta get into, and I think that again, going back to authenticity, being comfortable with where I am and who I am to this person at this time,
You better talk.
I'm speaking from life experience, and
you
like
better preach.
a lot of this is hard lessons that I had to learn. So
man,
hard lessons I had to learn. I want to switch gears because something we've been touching on. I really want to kind of get into, because Asia, with the work that you're doing right now and trying to elevate voices, one of the things that we deal with in our kind of in the narrative of America is the idea of the politics of respectability. The idea, and it takes different shapes, because in some of the articles I was reading, whether it's like with what you did with the stories we tell, whose stories we tell, or like we've been talking about, you can only come into this space if you do or act a certain way, or the idea with Black people. One of the things I was reading, and even I felt this myself. You don't want to be, if you're gonna be accepted, don't be like this Black person, or don't be like that Black person. How, like, have you been facing some of that tension, the tension of we gotta find the best person, that to tell their story? What are your thoughts on that?
Man, that is. That's a deep topic. Like you said, it can go so deep. But I think what's so much I'm really daily falling in love with this work, because like I said, I'm new to this whole, realm of journalism and especially social solutions journalism. This is a new thing, right? Mm-hmm. But solutions journalism is that change in media. It's exactly what you're saying. We have got to stop with respectability politics. We have got to really tell the true stories and let them tell it in the way that they want to tell it. That, without trying to correct them or make it politically correct or make it polished. What is the truth? What is the story? What's the story that the people want to be told? Not in the way that you want to be told, not through going through all these extra parameters of respectability politics. Like, that is what solution journalism is about, and that's the reason why I'm so interested, because that's what we need more of. In order for us to repair the damage between the media and the people, we have to be authentic, right? We have to have staff that are honest and real about how most of our newsrooms nationally are predominantly white and are not hiring Black writers or Black editors or Black reporters. How they are working in predominantly Black cities, and you still have a predominantly white staff. That's what, and then you have these predominantly white people going into these predominantly Black and ethnic neighborhoods, telling their stories through your lens. You're not even really telling the story how they're telling it to you. You're putting a spin on it for clickbait, or it's not about really stirring change and holding truth to power and holding those in power accountable to stir that change. It's not about that. It's about the fame. It's about, going viral. You know what I'm saying? And we got too much of that. And that's why I admire these programs that are predominantly white, who are coming to places like Mississippi Free Press and are giving us money to hire Black writers, Black editors, black videographers, black photojournalists, black graphic designers. Like, that's what we need. And we need white people to fund it. We need more. I understand that you can't automatically diversify your staff right now or diversify whatever, but you can go in your pocket and give somebody some jobs and put people that have experience in the position to tell their own community stories the way it should be told from people that they trust. That you can do. And so I'm with that. With you know, and see, I done got off on a whole nother tangent, but yeah.
No, you there. You
bring me back, cause
you right in the pocket. You
respectability. Oh, we talking about respectability. Yeah. Okay, so you said so that's one part of me. Reason why I love where I work and where I am, because even though, you know, my boss Donna, she's white, she's a white woman, but I just love the fact that she gives me freedom to be who I am, and she fights for the individuality for all of us. Not just her black stuff, not just her white stuff, and I love that. I love that I can do the work that I like to do and be myself. I can use slang in my group chat. You know, I can say ain't and though and, you know, abbreviations, and it not be a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like that I can wear my scarves. I can wear my fro. I can wear braids. I can, you know, wear what I want to wear. I can wear my God Save the Queen hoodie and it not be an issue. You know, it's like, that's important, and I hope that, you know, from her example, I can even cultivate even more spaces like that. I don't necessarily want, you know, I'm not saying that I'm anti-white, or that I don't want any, you know, white people work. Like I said, I tell you all the time, like, you know, I think people just think that I'm just so black, right? Like, I'm just blackity black, like with the pro-black, and, you know, how assertive I am and how outspoken I am. They just think I just, you know, don't like white people or something. But dude, like, my whole life, I've never been to a predominantly black college or high school. I went to Terry High. I went to Southern Miss. I went to Mississippi College. I work at Jackson Free Press. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but at the same time, you know, I want us, it's not about just being in all black spaces. It's about me being able to be black out loud in any space. And to not be seen as a threat, to be seen for the educated, focused, determined, ambitious woman that I am, not just because you see a scarf on my head, because you hear me listening to Lucci on my boss headphones. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't judge me or think that I'm not educated just because I'm black. Like, that's the issue. Don't try to make it seem like I can't both be, you know, from Brown Bottom, where my grandma's house still is, and also have a master's from Mississippi College. Let's it's 2020. Okay, let's stop that. And I would go with respectability politics. Ooh, I feel like it's even worse with black people.
Yes. Yeah.
It's really a lot of us that put us in those cages. Oh my goodness, I feel like my stomach started to turn with the respectability politics before the whole Bill Cosby, you know, scandal with the rape thing. I kind of was done with Bill Cosby when I saw some Facebook videos of him talking down on young black people about how they wearing their pants and this and that. And I'm like, that's their environment. That's it's a whole culture. You can't disrespect, you know, whether they got tattoos or piercings. I got piercings, and I also have 2 degrees. You know, that's not what it's about. You know, we need to, but as black people, we're so traumatized as well. We've been in our parents and our grandparents even having beards and growing your hair out, especially black men having hair. Oh, that's a problem. Black men having long hair, that is a problem in the black community. It's a problem in the white community. Sagging your pants is a problem. Having tattoos is a problem, because that's how our parents are brought up. You can't get no job with tattoos on you. You can't get no job with piercing. You can't get no job with dreads. Like, that's because that's the truth. That's how our parents grew up, and so they had to make sure that they had to groom us. You know, so I'm not mad at the trauma with us still, with this generation. We're still beating ourselves up, our own community, with their respectability politics, because it's so deeply ingrained in us. But in order for us to change, we got to acknowledge that this is a problem, and it's we've got to be more accepting of our culture and where we come from, and not be ashamed of it just because we've been told to be ashamed of it for so long. We have to change that, because there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's who we are. It's what made us who we are. It's what's made us equipped, like what we talked about. And that part of the story is necessary. You don't get to erase that just because you feel like it's dirty or just because you feel like it's not clean enough. You don't get to erase that.
Yes. Oh, so good. Asia.
Yes.
I love
Asia, we are now over an hour. So before we begin to wrap up, anything you want to mention while you are here on our platform?
I just want to say, you look so snazzy in your cardigan, in your shirt. Like, you look real good tonight. I just want to tell you earlier.
I'm still in my college professor clothes.
You look like a handsome college professor.
I don't know. I'm wearing a cardigan. I look like Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers. Speaking of Mr.
Rogers is cool.
Mr. Rogers is cool. And look, for the public to say, I don't know if y'all seen these memes, but somebody put a beard on Mr. Rogers on Facebook. God rest his soul. And Mr. Rogers was hot. You hear me? Like, I had to look. I double checked Mr. Rogers a few times. Like, I'm like, Mr. Rogers with the beard and the cardigan. See, Adam, and what you got? A beard and a cardigan. You get your hair all swooped. Like, that's what I'm saying. You looking good.
You ready to take the mantle? Ready to handle the mantle?
Now, Asia, after that, our YouTube channel is going to be going crazy.
Yes.
And they're all going to tune in, and they're going to be like, what's she talking about?
Look, please, ladies, treat yourself. Go look at those memes and Mr. Ryder with that beard, and I'm telling you, you're going to look a few times. I'm telling you. It's funny. Anyways.
Let me ask, maybe quickly,
okay.
The idea of resilience, and you talk about how it's not just, a sad story. And I think even hopefully we can get into this with the spirituals and gospel music. It's not just about, one day we're gonna get past this dark cloud, which there's a dark cloud, but it's not only just a dark cloud. Like, can you really, I'm sorry to say quickly, but could you quickly talk about how it's not just
that shaking head got me.
Yeah. How we it's not just about the sadness.
Yes. Man, I'm just going to use your example. The fact that my ancestors who were slaves used the joy of music to communicate to each other, not only talk about God and glorify God and his creation and encourage one another and speak about freedom, but they even use the lyrics of the song as ways to instruct how to get the freedom. The fact that they sung songs and stomped their feet and clapped their hands while in slavery, that is Black resilience.
Yes.
They had it then, and we're the seeds of that. They were in the field singing. Singing. And that is the joy that Black people have. I feel like that's so ingrained in our genetics, like that it's a joy that you can't take away. Even for me being such a musical person, and I've always been, love to dance and love to sing, and music is part of my everyday. And I don't care how down I am. There's not a day. I was telling my sister this. We was having some existential dread conversations, about death and what is life. Well, talking about the weight of life, right? No matter how happy or joyous we are, it's just the weight of being this finite being in this place. It's a heavy thing. Humanity is a heavy thing that we all carry. I don't care how much money you make or how happy you are. If you just switch your brain to thinking about how you could be gone like this into a place that you do have no experience of, is enough existential dread to make you depressed. Because that's what being human is about. Just being but a vapor, not knowing anything, and having to live each moment as it comes. It's a dread. But it's that life part. It's that no matter how dark my day gets, a song, a smile, a chuckle, like I still have the capacity to have a joyous moment. That's resilience. And to get up every day and to fight and to be resilient to where I can own my own company or be my own brand or write something amazing or sing something amazing or create something amazing. Like Black people have been doing, creating, art and music, and out of all the pain that we've been through, we still create, we still grow, we still sing, we still dance. Like, that's amazing. And so, and that resilience is worth celebrating. I mean, on behalf of our ancestors, like the fact that they sung in the moment while they were yet suffering, then didn't even know who we will become, who the seeds, us, who we will become, and where we will be. They still danced and sung to freedom.
Yes.
Blows my mind.
Yes. So,
Y'all stop smiling. Y'all looking all goofy. Stop. Say something.
this has been really good. This has been really good.
I know.
I think we have stayed awake throughout the whole thing.
I'm so
Asia,
proud.
it is past 10:30 right now. You.
I forgot y'all are an hour ahead.
Yes,
See, that's
you
worse.
must be the world's most fascinating person, because let me tell you, the fact that I'm still conscious is a real credit to how interesting you are.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
And the fact
Thanks for
that
having me.
normally I would be asleep by now is a credit to what a boring old man I am.
No, you're not. You are a responsible, healthy, taking care of yourself man. Okay, we need sleep. We don't have time for this stuff. Being out in the streets up all night, like we can't. No, you are doing absolutely right. I'm trying to be like you, for sure. Because man, 7:30 was past my bedtime. Like if I could have my way, I should have been in the bed. I should have been winding down. About 2:30 this afternoon, and then
Yes.
taking a nap.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then maybe waking up, watch some TV, and then going to bed around
Just falling
8:30.
asleep.
Yeah, like that sounds like a good work day, like from
Yeah.
9 to 2.
Nine-
And then
Start winding.
Yes.
Oh man.
So Adam, no, thank you guys thank you for staying away from me. I know my schedule is crazy. I'm
Wow.
glad to be here. Thanks for having me. It's
Thank you
always fun.
for a terrific conversation.
Yes.
Yes.
So we want to get into our last segments. So let's talk about current events really quick.
Oh Lord, let me sip.
Okay. I'll be real quick. My
Okay.
current event this
Be
week
cool.
is, and now I know that I said last week I was going to move to doing more recommendations, but when the current event is just as juicy as this, I can't help myself. But
Juicy.
this impeachment trial in the Senate, oh my goodness, I just okay. I promise to be brief, and it's way past my bedtime. So. First of all, the 13-minute video that the House impeachment managers showed the Senate, just laying out the timeline, I mean, I actually cried watching it, seeing footage that I'd never seen before of the rioters in the Capitol building. It's as harrowing now as it was on January 6th. Second, what is going on with the defense attorneys? Like, did they go to law school? Like, or have they lost? What? Let me tell you, if my, okay, I'll just put it this way. If my pastor was as discombobulated and nonsensical as those attorneys, I would leave that church. All right. I'm not putting up with any sermons that are just rambling word vomit. No. And if I were a United States Senator, I would vote to convict just on the fact that they are wasting my time. Okay.
And see, I'm not in the I would say healed enough place to even watch the impeachment trial. I would like to see that, but I hadn't had the time, and
Yep.
I'm still mad. I'm still thinking about it's so much for me to still unpack about what I have seen on January 6th.
Yeah.
So, child, I know it's a mess. I can't even.
Well,
Yes.
Asia,
How about you,
what
Phil?
Well, okay. I don't. So I mine really quick. Mine is kind of a downer. I have two people I know from high school and college who died in the past week, both in car accidents.
Oh no.
And so that's been kind of hard. I've been kind of reflecting and trying to connect with people that I've been thinking about connecting with but haven't, and because like you were saying, Asia, it's, it just takes a moment. These people probably got up that morning thinking, oh, I'm about to go do this, and that was it. So yeah. What about you, Asia?
Now I feel like I have to come up with something light because that was heavy. Both of those were heavy for me. It's like Adam was entertaining and juicy, but like a little bit heavy, and then you came with like the real heavy stuff. So like current events. All I do is work, you guys. The only current events I have is about me, and I don't. What just happened? I'm like, well, I hadn't been watching any news. Okay, something simple. I just posted an article about CDC releasing about the mask, how it's more effective to wear two, and how it's all about how it fits. Now, I think that's very important. More so really about how it fits. So everybody that's listening, of course, I encourage you to still mask up wherever you go. And if you have the ability to wear, two masks, like, wear the blue filter mask and then put like a cloth mask on top, that's fine. It does increase your chance of it being effective against the aerosol particles of coronavirus. But make sure they fit correctly. If they're not covering your complete nose and tight to your chin and under, to your cheek and under your face, and you have all this air pockets, it's not as effective. So just be sure that they're that you're wearing them, that they are fitted to your face, according to CDC. So yeah, that's my current event for today.
Great. Adam, what did you learn?
I was just gonna say that this episode, Asia, it is a challenge in the best possible way to hear what you have said. It's like a challenge to me to examine any role, any complicity that I have had in the injustices in our society. So thank you for challenging me in that way.
I like that. Thank you, Adam.
Phil, what have you learned?
So I was gonna say in the example of Asia talking about the person who's most authentic, Ariel, your sister. I think that was a great, just kind of laying out kind of the progression of authenticity, right? Like eventually getting to the root of some of the things that are going on. So I thought that was very insightful.
Thank you.
Asia, what about you?
I would say my two favorite things. From Adam, I feel like I like the fact, like when we talk about the code switching and you gave your experience, being rural and then, leaving home and, becoming who you are, your authentic self, and then having to, experience a level of code switching yourself. But the fact that you're able to say, yeah, my experience is not like your experience, I think it's important to note our similarities, especially in this, it's just so polarized right now between black people and white people and Republicans and Democrats. And I do believe that we all need our safe spaces, right? We all need to, keep up with our own culture and, be able to appreciate our family and have close communities. All our communities should have, food and water and things that are essential to every community. But that doesn't mean that I can't invite Adam over to my community. That doesn't mean that I can't go over to Adam's community and appreciate it for what it is and find similarities there. And it's important to know that we experience a lot of the same things in this life. And I think that was a very important lesson that you taught me, that yes, it's white people who have the code switch, and people who think that there's this big thing. People will say, a lot of radical black people will say that white people don't have no culture in America, and that's ignorant, to be honest, because we're all immigrants here.
Yes.
Just because you're white does not mean you share the same culture with the next white person you're sitting to. They could be German or Russian or whatever. And in other countries that are predominantly white, just because you're white does not mean that they like you.
Yeah.
You know, it's a caste system, it's a class system, but everywhere in the other parts of the world, and racism is different in other places. So I like the fact that was important to me. That touched me. That we're able to identify, you know, in that level. And I think that this is what this is about, what the work that you guys are doing. I know we made jokes earlier about, you know, us being the only ones listening or whatever, but these conversations make a difference. And if just one person hears this and tells somebody else about it, this is how we make change. And that's what I want to do with my stories, with what the work that I'm doing. I just want it to spark some genuine, authentic conversation between people that have different opinions, and us being in different backgrounds and different experiences, and being able to listen to one another without feeling attacked, without feeling like, you know, this person is all against me because they don't think like me, you know, or they're not like me, or they don't look like me, you know. So thank you, Anna, for that. I love that. Philip, the thing that I think that stuck with me, that stuck my fingers, that we talked about, was about the children. Like, you being a teacher, and like you said, most of the things we do right now is asking them a lot of questions. And I love the questions that y'all are asking. Like, those are the right questions. And you may be asking myself those questions as an adult. And I encourage anyone that's listening to ask yourself those questions that Philip is asking his students, because as adults, we have that same groundwork to do. That root to authenticity, that root to having character and having integrity as opposed to, you know, struggling to fit into the identity that our parents set for us. Instead of really searching who we really are and who we really want to be. It's a difference, and like you said, it's a real important thing that we learn that balance. And the earlier we can start our children off with thinking that way and understanding that it's all about balance. It's about really, you know, getting to know yourself at every stage of life, even at that young. It's very important. So thank you guys. Y'all been enlightening, and it's been awesome, and I love you.
Thank you, Azia Wiggins.
Yes. Any other thoughts, Adam?
No.
All right.
So, dear audience, I will say bye for now.
Adios.
Peace.